NewTek booth at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. Of course, my co-host, John P.
Word up.
He's losing his voice, and we've been here all weekend. And our very special guest, Sarah L. Lane from Twit TV.
Yes.
You do so many things. TNT, Tech News Today.
Right.
Social Hour. And
iPad
Today.
That's right.
And plus a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it's a very fun, busy, challenging job. Tech News Today obviously is 5 days a week.
Yes.
And everything at Twit is always live, so even though you can consume our stuff on demand, we treat it like it is, any old broadcast station. You guys know all about live stuff, so it keeps things interesting.
But you know what I'm curious about is we do live.
I always get scared when he says, I'm curious about this, because it always goes in a direction of...
No, I'm going to be tame.
Okay.
Only because we're here with our friends from NewTek, but...
So I can take it.
Yeah, I know you can. You're tough. We do live, but you do live every day. It takes us so long to prep for our live shows. I mean, it takes for us to do a 1 hour live show, it takes hours of prep. How do you do that every day?
You just do it. Well,
I mean, do you literally prep in the morning and then?
Yeah.
I mean, you're prepping all morning and then you talk for an hour or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, the TNT schedule is we all get up in the morning. We hit refresh on Tech Meme a million times, read Google News, try to figure out what are all the stories we have to focus on, and then we just have to revisit that list all day long until the moment we go on air, because the stories change. You can't choose your rundown at 9 a.m. and expect it to be the same at 3 p.m. the same day, because it just doesn't work that way. So yeah, it's I read a lot of news. I read a lot of news, but no, it's fun, and once you do it, when you get into a schedule, and we have a really good team, and everybody works really hard, it's like a machine. We've got a rhythm going.
So, Sarah, your Twitter handle, Sarah Lane.
Yes.
You're on Google Plus, Sarah Lane.
Yes.
Facebook, Sarah Lane.
Yep.
Is there anywhere where you're not Sarah Lane?
I am Sarah Lane Rocks in our IRC chat room at Twit on Last FM.
Gotcha.
And on Last FM. Because somebody took Sarah Lane. Who is this Sarah Lane?
I did.
Wait, what?
I did not realize, because it used to be, before it was Last FM, it was the music genome or something. It was some other thing. And I didn't realize that was the account that I had. So one day I was like, who has this? That never happens.
Oh, that's
no other Sarah Lane ever beats me to any service. It was actually me.
That's nice.
But I decided to stay with my Sarah Lane Rocks because it's music based, and I thought that was funny.
It has a good vibe to it, I suppose.
Thank you.
So, as we mentioned, we are here at South by in Austin. It's been going on all weekend. The show floor where we are located just opened up. We've been roaming around. Have you seen anything really interesting yet?
So this show floor is big. I mean, it's kind of like CES big, and
no.
Well, okay. We'll let you have it. We'll let you have it though.
I'm one of the halls big at CES.
Fair enough.
Big halls overwhelm me. So yeah, I have I've seen a couple of keynotes. I have yet to kind of make my way around this very large exhibit hall, but I did get a little gift yesterday from my friends over at Nike. The new Fuel Band.
Oh my God.
And this is the reason I'm sitting in between them, because he is about to attack. He is so excited about this.
I want that so
I have
bad.
taken
I can't even express how
8,629 steps since midnight.
Look how awesome that was. Hit that button again.
All right.
Look how awesome that is.
There we go.
Okay.
Further up. There
When we first saw this come out, I saw that. I was like, oh my God, I want that. And she's like, why? Who would want one of those? I was like, it's awesome. Now you see it in real life. You got to admit that is awesome.
All right, so
and it's also just a cool watch, too.
Yeah, it is.
It's 2:16 p.m., man.
I want it so bad.
How adjustable is it? What can you
Goal.
So.
Wait, goal?
It said goal.
Why
because my goal is to. All right, so if I can explain this as succinctly as possible, it'll tell me how many calories I burned within a 24-hour period. It'll also tell me how many steps I took, and also tell you the time. But then you have something called fuel, which is Nike's way of saying, okay, well, that's actually sort of the number that we're going to use with all the aggregate data, like how much do I weigh, how tall am I, that sort of thing, because that all gets factored into when you burn calories.
Right.
Like if John and I are both trying to run for 30 minutes, like you're just going to burn more calories than me because you're bigger than I am.
I'm fat.
You're a big fat person.
That's
right.
right.
You know? Yeah. Well, if I keep eating all of this Texas food, I'll be right there with you. But the fuel is sort of all of that data together to give you a number. What I do through Nike, and you can set this up at Nike.com, their fuel band area, is say like, okay, well, I want my fuel to be, like a 2,000, and so when I get to close to 2,000, I've got this little, you can see the sort of rainbow type thing. Starts at the beginning of the day, like right at over on this side, and it's red. And as I get closer to my goal of 2,000, it gets closer and closer to green. I have now hit my goal for the day. So if I was trying to, I don't know, lose some weight or just get into better shape, or maybe I'm competing with a friend or something, I could say, I think I could up my goal to like 5,000 or something like that. So I love this thing, and it's water resistant, so I never take it off. I shower with it and everything.
God, I need one of those so bad. I really like the fact that it has a goal, but I am disappointed that when it hits goal, you don't hear that Mexican dude go, "Goal!" I really would like to have that happen.
What is that from?
Soccer.
It's from every soccer game ever.
Yeah, every soccer game
You
ever.
guys were doing a movie reference, and it just wasn't
Goal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just the general excitement of goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing cool about the floor. I know you haven't gotten to walk it yet, but I completed it earlier. I abandoned her while she was shooting stuff. It's okay. I'm bad man. And what's interesting is there's a whole international section here now. So there's like, there's like an entire, I think this row maybe 7, like one of these rows right here is like
I
all
saw
Japan.
a bunch of stuff was supposed to be from Japan,
And there's
but
like
I haven't seen it
Europe over there and like British people. G'day.
yet. British, good day.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I apologize to all of
And
you.
anyway, there's
I
like, all
apologize.
that international stuff. So
All right, well, did you see anything specifically interesting from Japan, from good day?
there were some people
Britain.
over there with Japanese candy, and I was thinking of Mark Zamora. He wants Japanese candy, but they didn't have his. Have you seen those ones that look like a chemical set? I mean, like it
You
looks
ever
like
seen
you
these
would
YouTube videos?
blow
It's
something
like
up.
traditional Japanese candy.
You mix this with that
it,
and some water
and, then you eat
and then
it.
a mushroom
It's like
cloud comes out and then you eat it. It's
No,
amazing.
I don't know where I've been.
Yeah.
I need to get on YouTube and see some
Well,
of these
we
videos.
were in Tokyo. We couldn't find it anywhere.
behind.
So
Oh, really?
It's not.
It's
you.
like an underground candy
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that.
Well, one of the things I'm interested to play with and to see are the proximity apps that are so popular this year. Things like Glomper and Weekend Network.
Glomper?
Glomper is one of them. And what was the other one you were talking about earlier?
Highlights?
Highlights.
One of the problems with apps in general and the internet is that we're just running out of reasonable domain names. And so we're having to just come up like somebody hawks a loogie and like, honk. Oh, there we go. Put a .com on the end of that.
I apologize to all of you for that, too. I'm constantly apologizing for him.
I do that with Leo a lot, too.
So these, if you're not familiar with proximity apps, they're basically apps that allow you to kind of submit your interests and then locate other people around you who are interested in the same thing, and then you can get together and be friends, right?
Yeah.
Have you played with it?
Yeah, I have not. I have not tried out every proximity app, and it's a pretty crowded marketplace, sort of almost overnight.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to kind of figure out what like the secret sauce is to make the app that everyone's going to use all the time. Foursquare has been very successful as far as events and places that are nearby, and you can sort of figure out where other people are. But it's sort of like if John and I have a third friend in common. I don't know that third friend. I don't recognize him. We've never been introduced. But we're friends through you, and it turns out that he works at a cool company, and we have some things on Facebook in common. We've both liked, I don't know, the same kind of burger joint, that sort of thing. Something like an app like Highlight would, when we get close enough to each other, because Highlight's using our GPS information to know that we're standing pretty close together. It's not about check-ins. It'll say, hey, this guy, Dennis, your friend, or John's friend, is around. You've got this much in common with him. And then it's up to me to like go up and introduce myself if I want to. And
It's
I see
like
his
an
Facebook
icebreaker.
profile.
Right.
It's an icebreaker.
It gives you something. It gives you a reason to walk up to someone and go, hey, check this out. We know each other somehow or whatever.
I just can imagine me sitting on the side of the road, saying, oh, there's somebody who's interested in this. Hey, hello, are you, Are you
I like
around?
bacon too.
Yeah, just screaming out phrases and
Bacon.
expecting somebody to be like, "Hey, that was me." It feels a little awkward to
There's
me.
Steve Garfield over
I
there.
also think.
Hey, Steve Garfield.
Hello.
We should get him on. You have some time? In a bit? Okay, hang out. Get him mic'd up.
Nice. The problem I have with these apps is that if you're somewhere like South by Southwest where people are here to meet each other and connect and network and stuff, something like a highlight experience like I just laid out makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Back at home, I don't know how much I'd want someone to come up to me at a cafe and be like, "Hey, are you Sarah? We have a friend in common." You know, it's like
When you're like,
and it also
when you're at Macy's in the lingerie section, you don't want people coming up to you and being like, "Hey."
right,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Or if I have the flu and I'm at Walgreens, I'm trying to figure out what cold medicine. It's like I think a lot of that. It's also assuming that people are really, really, really social by nature,
Yeah.
and I think some of us are more social than others anyway. And even the really social people aren't social all the time. So it's kind of like messing with natural behavior a little bit, not necessarily in a negative way.
Well, you could turn it off, couldn't you? But I guess you
Yeah,
have
and
to
actually
remember
I
to do
did
that,
because it keeps taking all my battery. Yeah. I mean, if it's pinging
that's
your
what the
GPS location every however many 30 seconds, your battery drains pretty quick. So that's a big knock on some of these apps, not all of them.
Well, now I mean, you are interested in some very specific niche things.
She's trying to say I'm weird.
No, not at all. I mean, but you do metal work, and
That is true.
You're a bladesmith, so that's not something that you're going to be
No,
finding
that is true.
everywhere.
Like, okay, so for example, I am a sports car fan. Okay.
Right.
But
Well, there are a lot of those.
But there's too many of those. I would not want to know every time a guy walks by who likes cars. I mean, everybody. But yeah, I'm a bladesmith, which is very rare. I'd love to know every time an actual bladesmith was nearby because it would never happen.
You could meet some really interesting people that way.
Yeah, so that would be
you could
interesting.
control
If you could be
something
selective
like
about
that.
it.
Well, of course you could be selective.
Yeah,
it's
no,
not just going to know you.
But here's the thing, okay? There's like 50 new apps that are coming out. First of all, I'm already on app overload and social media overload, okay?
What? How? How is that possible?
I know,
don't
it's impossible.
No.
But the question is, do we really need these new apps? Or will Google Plus and Facebook and Twitter, will these guys be able to get their act together and just add that functionality in so that we don't have to, have 10 different things running at once? I mean, why aren't they doing that yet?
Well, I think a lot of people don't want a company like Facebook to have all that functionality because then Facebook is too powerful. Then we're too dependent on one service that can then change, I don't know, privacy policies or the way that they do things.
When you say a lot of people, do you mean
Right,
a lot of
'cause-
techies or do you mean the general public?
The
Because
general public doesn't care.
I get the feeling
But the
that
general public
doesn't care.
isn't going to use proximity apps
You don't think so?
anyway. No, I don't.
Not even in the future? I mean, if one company, let's say, Facebook or Google Plus were to integrate all of that and make it successful, I could see the general public using it. But will they download a separate app?
Maybe they won't.
I think realistically, sure. I mean, in the future, people are going to get more comfortable with technology, and things like this won't seem so weird to them. I also think that for many years to come, you're going to hear people go, "Why don't you just meet someone the normal way, like at a dinner party?" The way that they say that, I mean, I can't tell my mom enough about an app to make her want to behave this way because to her it seems very unnatural.
I will tell you something that seems unnatural to me.
What's that?
We were walking down the street out here, and a homeless guy came walking up wearing a white T-shirt, and it said, "I'm a 4G hotspot."
There
Yes.
are
And I looked at-
a
I had
lot
to-
of homeless guys wearing this shirt out
I was
here.
like, what is the deal with that?
So basically, have you seen this?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, the homeless, there's this company that is setting up the homeless guys to be 4G hotspots, and you pay whatever you want.
You give them a tip
in order to use their 4G hotspot.
for them to stand beside you and use it. What do you think about that?
All right, so my first reaction, because the Twitter sphere was all a Twitter about this story this morning, my first reaction is, wow, so somebody needs money, and instead of relying on the kindness of strangers, there has to be some sort of like a gimmick going on so that I have more of an incentive to be a kind person to someone in need. That sounds awful when you just think of it that way. Like people
That you
aren't nice
need
enough.
incentive,
Yeah. You know, it's just, it would be like almost like whoop, being like
that was my phone.
tech dropping everywhere, tech raining down from the sky. But so that's my reaction. However, this homeless organization, which there is an Austin homeless shelter, so I think it's like a
it's just
third-party
right around the
organization that's working with some of these folks, outfitting some of these people with the hotspots. They're kind of like, why is everybody so upset about this? We're trying to help people, you know, who are in need with something that is going to get a little buzz, get a little attention,
Right.
but in the end, they might make money that they weren't
Right.
otherwise getting. So it's like, I see why it was put together with very good intentions.
Yeah.
It just comes across rather demoralizing, I think, for the people that are walking homeless hotspot. Like, you're homeless and you're a hotspot because I need to get on my, you know, check my Gmail.
So my first interaction with this wasn't from a press release or from the company itself. It was from the homeless guys themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't. The two men that, or the three men that
You met them in line,
encountered,
right?
I met them in line at a food truck.
Where they were
and I
getting
was
free
just doing-
food,
They were getting
free food from one of the vendors, right?
Exactly. They were. I mean, they were like super sweet about it, and they were. I didn't get a bad impression from it at all. I thought it was kind of a cool idea. Now, once I stepped away and started thinking about it, I started thinking, you know, this is going to create some socially awkward situations because you have to be near them. And then, like, so you're paying somebody, and then this is a random person, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with homeless people, right?
Well,
and so then you have to stay by them, and they feel mandatory that it's, you know, you have to talk to them, create conversation.
There's this whole, there are two things that I find to be kind of weird about it. One is, just stand there and shut up, okay? I'm using the Wi-Fi.
I'm
you know,
using this.
You're not
you
really
stand
interacting
there
with this human.
as far away as you can. You know,
And secondly, there's kind of a socio-political, challenge here because some people would say, I don't want to encourage homeless people by giving them handouts, and all you're doing is giving them something to bribe me for handouts. Anyway, I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of people are kind of awkward, feeling awkward about it. But I don't think it'll stick around. Do you?
No, this sounds like a fad that's probably going to be seen as a bit of a misstep as we get farther away from Austin. I think they're probably not going to bring this back next year.
Here, so
there are a lot of homeless people, and
I
don't think that the answer is just like, just go back to the way it normally is, because that obviously isn't working either. So I don't know that. I don't think it's a bad idea to be looking for new solutions. I just don't think that this was the right fit.
Okay, speaking of new solutions, have you seen Coney 2012?
I have not watched this video yet.
Wow, you're one of the
I
only
have
people
not
who haven't.
either.
That's right.
I know what it is.
Neither
I know
of
what
you
it
have.
is,
Yeah,
but
I haven't
actually
watched it.
Okay, it's half an hour long. Hey, Steve Garfield is here. Steve, you got a mic? Come join us. Come sit down. Come on up here. Come on up here. You
Don't
guys,
mind
if
my
you don't
bag.
know
You
him,
can just
Sarah,
Steve
you guys
Garfield.
know each other, I'm sure.
Yes, we do. Hi. How are you?
Oh, hi. How are you?
Very
Remind me
well.
on your name.
Sarah Lane.
We know each other so
Oh,
well.
okay. I'm like,
You know what? It's the online versus. I don't think we've met in person.
you haven't met a
we
person?
have.
We have?
Oh, Steve.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I can't believe
Big
you just
negative
did that.
Sorry
to
about
Sarah
that.
Lane.
Okay, listen, we brought you on, but I just teed up the topic, and I got to ask you, have you seen the Coney 2012 video yet?
Yes,
Of
I
course you
have
have.
seen that.
So we now have
Neither
2
of
and
these
2.
two have, okay? So
2 and
here's
2.
the deal.
2 and 2.
It's a half-hour-long video. I would
That's why I
say
haven't watched it.
it is legitimately one of the best produced videos I have seen in a long time. It is movie quality production.
Is it
excellent?
the
Moving.
Invisible Children?
Yeah.
Yes.
folks?
That's what you get with over $1 million of cash to produce a movie.
Yeah, that's right.
You know
and
what?
they did it.
You're
Oh,
right. We haven't met in real life.
I'm right. We
But it
have
was
not met in real life. Thank you.
It was a Google Hangout.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It,
For
my-
the
all
iPad.
The
coming back
lines
to
are
you.
blurring
It was the-
for me.
it was the
I don't
iP-
know who I meet in real life
It
anymore.
happens
You might have
all
been
the time.
in studio and I was remote.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I
see?
remember you being right next to me because it felt that way.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
so this
for that.
video,
So they are
it has
talking
now
about
been
invisible
viewed.
children, but is that
It's now been viewed over 100 million times,
Yeah.
making it the fastest growing viral video in history.
impressive?
And
And is it actually making a difference? That's the question.
Well, I don't know. It's very divisive. So the story behind it is there's this really bad guy over in Africa. He kidnaps children and does bad things. And they want to make him famous in a bad way,
right,
so that the people will want to put pressure on the governments to make the governments go and get this guy. And so, you know, people are on both sides of this. Obviously, there's a lot of people supporting it because when you walk around South by, you see the little posters everywhere, Coney 2012, and it makes you wonder who's this Coney guy, which is what they want to do, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wonder if that's the right way to go about it.
It is very impressive that the fastest viral or the fastest growing video is about such a heavy topic.
Bad guy.
A bad
Now,
guy.
you know, part of it is really interesting. So you guys probably know CC Chapman, a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's big in
Love
social.
CC.
He wrote Content Rules. So his kid, his young son, runs into his office and says, "Dad, you've got to watch this video." And
wow.
so a lot of kids are watching it and having the parents watch, and that's been repeated over and over. That's the story I've heard. So kids are getting interested, and they're saying, "What can we do?" And the call to action in it is, I think it's April 20th. They want people to send money to get posters, and then they want everybody to go out on April 20th and plaster their city or town with these posters.
Yeah.
So I put a comment and I said, well, you better be careful where you put the posters in Boston, because Shepard Fairey got arrested for, you know, just putting posters up on private property. So now CC has to talk to his kids about the issues, about the call to action, whether it's legal or not, and you know, it's a bigger issue, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that has been the most controversial part of it. What people are most controversial about it is all the money that goes in. It's how much money goes to the ground to support. And so I saw an interview with the filmmaker. And so if it's the Red Cross, a lot of the money goes on the ground and feeds people with supplies.
Like 90-something%.
Right.
Usually,
Which is incredible.
Yeah,
is that like the Red Cross?
They judge the efficiency of nonprofits, you know, by percentage of money that goes directly to helping people.
Right.
And yeah, with the Coney video, allegedly, they claim they're about 86% efficient.
I think it's 32%.
Yeah, when you back out their video production and social media costs, it brings it down to 30%.
But they're saying that the whole new way of looking at this is not putting stuff on the ground, it's raising awareness and doing this social campaign, and that was the goal.
Question.
So they say they can't be compared to the Red Cross because they have a whole new way of thinking. So that's,
I love
you know,
how
when they were on
in this world today, we can always just rely on the fact that we have a new way of thinking about this. We always pull that out these days.
Like it's nothing, no one's ever thought of this before. But I think
I love the new way of thinking thing. I'm like, wow, really? You know.
Well, it gets you thinking.
Yes, it does. But
all right. I know, exactly. That was bad. I'm sorry.
I wish we had a rim shot. How are we doing on
Shall
time,
we move
by
on
the
to
way?
something a little bit more happy?
Yeah, what do we got that's happy?
Draw something. Have you guys played it?
What's it called?
Draw something.
Is this a
I don't know it.
iPhone app where you draw things with friends or something?
It's like a Pictionary game.
It's like Words with Friends, only
Words
pictures.
with Friends and Pictionary.
It's like Pictionary slash Words with
I
Friends.
like the idea.
This is an app that my team got me involved with, and I regret it every day because it has wasted hours of productivity. Thank you, Mark Zamora. So basically, you draw things, and then people have to guess it, and then you get points and blah, blah, blah.
It was just launched recently. I mean,
6 weeks ago it was launched, and it has blown up. They've had now 20 million downloads.
In 6 weeks.
And they're now getting 6 figures a day.
Income.
Because it's like, they have a free version, and then they have a version that's like $1.99 or 99 cents.
99 cents.
Why are we not all in the app business?
I know, seriously, right?
I should have thought of that.
In
It's funny.
6 weeks,
I
you
can't
could be
believe
making
that I
that
haven't
much.
reviewed this, considering I do a show about iOS.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
I don't know
You're
where
gonna have
we've
to get
been.
it. You'll have to
It's
send her
iOS
an
and
invite,
Android and everything.
and
so
you
I'll
guys can
send
draw
you an invite.
pictures. And good luck guessing what she draws for you.
I am the worst. I have no artistic ability whatsoever, but I'm having so much fun.
I think
which is
I
weird.
think I saw the photo you put online that said, "Could you guess what I drew?" Did you do one? Was it a dinosaur?
Oh, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that?
That wasn't me.
Someone put a very
I would
bad
never-
picture of a dinosaur online, and I was like, "That's obviously a dinosaur."
I would never
clearly.
publish my own drawings.
You wouldn't
because
do
they're
it?
So horrible.
we would publish her drawings just to show you how bad we, you know,
Actually,
have it.
when you said that, I looked over at Mark. I was like, "Did you post that?"
So there was a dinosaur.
Right.
All right,
So what
changing
else?
topics completely randomly. Let's talk about Mashable.
Yeah. So,
Okay. What do you want to
okay,
talk about?
what do we know about Mashable?
Well, it looks
Well-
like CNN has been in talks with Mashable.
Yeah,
to
some guy, I
potentially
forget
buy
who,
them.
some random guy claims to have the inside track.
A reporter from Reuters.
Oh, Reuters.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a pretty
Reuters.
reputable source. He says they're talking 200 million.
New York Times quoted another people familiar with the matter type thing, so it's not just Reuters. Yeah, 200 million
No,
is the.
I think the New York Times quoted the Reuters guy. I think it's just the one guy.
There was something else that I read where people familiar with the matter.
They can't talk on the record.
Exactly,
But that's
yeah.
that same guy who wrote the initial story that the Times quoted. It's all coming from that one
Maybe-
reporter.
maybe
But
so,
is it going to
maybe so.
happen, you think? I can see it. I can
Well,
totally
they
see
already
it.
work together when
Right.
Mashable stories are posted on CNN.com, so it seems like they've at least got a good enough relationship so that a partnership makes sense. And I guess it would get CNN more into the not just social, but kind of breaking online news type game. The valuation sounds high to me. 200
Yeah.
million. I
But
know
there's a
200
lot
million
of
is
brand
nothing these
awareness,
days.
too.
There's-
I mean, yeah, I mean,
What
just-
was that?
I know that 200 million isn't that much these days because companies get sold for more than that, but I don't know. I guess it just surprises me a little bit.
As you said earlier, you read a lot of news. You know, because
do.
of all the shows you do.
Yes.
When, from your perspective, does this make you nervous when a company gets bought or acquired by somebody else?
Well, it totally depends on who's buying whom. I think Mashable and CNN is not that weird of a partnership.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's not.
It seems to make
it's
a little
not
bit of
very left
sense.
field. And in fact, when I heard the news this morning, I was like,
Why is this news?
yeah, or just sort of like, didn't they already do this?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to make sense.
But I think what Mashable brings to the table that they've been developing is their community. You know, as you're in Mashable and you're part of a community, and you know that's kind of a social, on the ground people thing that CNN would get. You know, a lot of like
true.
me, I'm a Mashable part of that whole thing. And CNN, I'm not sure that I'm a part of the CNN news community. I'm a CNN reporter, but I don't think that
right.
comes into play when I'm on CNN reading the news. But when you're on Mashable, it's like, hey, you know, they have every social media hook, and they're also good at spreading, you know, out from Mashable, you know, with the sharing.
Right.
I imagine people feel more detached from CNN than they do from Mashable.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably more of an emotional attachment there, and they feel like more of a community, you know. Yeah, there's probably some. The other thing is when we talk about valuations, you know, there's many ways to evaluate what a company's worth, and one of them is revenues. And you know, I have no idea what Mashable's revenue stream is like, but I imagine it's probably at least in the 10 million plus category. And so if you look at traditional valuations, especially for high growth industries, a 20x valuation on revenues, if they're 10 million and you multiply by 20, you know, it's not completely out of the ballpark, and then you take some other things into consideration. So,
Right.
I don't know, but it's interesting. I think it'll happen. I don't know, we'll see.
It seems to make sense. I don't know. Have you seen here at South by Southwest? And for those of you just joining us, of course, we are at the NewTek booth here at South by Southwest. Have you been roaming? Have you seen anything exciting? Because you joined us late, Steve.
Have you seen anything exciting?
Have you been out on the floor?
Oh, on the floor?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I started from the
Well-
back, and it's like, what is it, the Epcot world, you know, where all the countries are?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
kind of
Epcot.
interesting. And
Oh,
I'm,
wait, here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but
I
I'm
thought you
talking
were
about
referring
the
to
international,
something.
the international.
you must have started from the front.
They've-
So
yeah.
Yeah,
our
who
plan was
knows
to
where
start
I
from the back
started
and then
from.
move to the front. So
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of international vendors there. So there's London and Japan and you know, Ireland, and it's kind of interesting. I talked with a guy from London because I'm planning a trip to London. I'm like, hey, so are there tech meetups? How do you get involved with the community? So he gave me some tips, so that was pretty cool.
Cool.
But you know, people are trying to give me cards and pass me things and get me to look at new. And you know what? I'm kind of okay with a lot of the programs that I use: Twitter, Foursquare, Facebook. I'm very comfortable with connecting with my friends who are here with the tried and true tools. Twitter, I'm checking in. Facebook, and it's working for me.
There are new social networks launching, and I don't quite understand where anyone feels like there's room for a brand new company, somebody no one has ever heard of, to come in and take over. Is that a flawed way of looking at things?
Well, I don't know. I feel guilty when I walk by and somebody comes up to me and they're like, I have this brilliant new service. It's a great idea.
It's a social network.
And I feel like,
and I'm like,
okay, I'm kind of I'm in the tech space. It's my job to be interested. And I have to I feel guilty if I'm not interested. Does that happen to any of you?
Oh, yeah.
I'm supposed to be
I feel
interested.
bad.
Why am I not?
I feel bad to tell them that there's one or two other companies that are already doing what you're telling me you invented.
But what would it take? Like if somebody were to come in from nowhere and just take over the social media space, what would it take? What is that feature that we're missing?
I don't think we're really missing much. I think that's why some of these proximity apps that we were talking about a few minutes ago, you have to explain them to someone, and then the person goes, okay, I could do that. But I don't need to do that.
I need it? Yeah.
I don't need to become this like crazy social person who just wants to meet everybody in the world and figure out what I have in common with them. I think, it's funny. This morning I woke up, I was hungry. I had some time before I was going to come meet you guys. And I'm like, I don't know, I want to go somewhere that's going to have really good breakfast food within like 2 blocks.
That's exactly what I thought of this morning. So let's hear how you did it.
Solution? How did you
two
find
different
it?
solutions.
I typed in brunch into my Yelp app and found a great place, and that's where I went. And it's like, that's just something that I am used to doing. It didn't really matter who else was there because I just wanted to get some food. I didn't want to meet up with anybody. I just wanted to, and so it's like, I've got my tools. It's very rarely that I'm like, I've got my phone here and all these apps,
and
none of them can do what I want them to do. They all do something, and yeah.
And what was your solution?
I totally agree. That's exactly right. So
I am not a Yelper.
I actually use Yelp, all the time when I'm in a city I don't know, because you can read what people actually think about it. And these people, it's like they're writing the first chapter of a book. They're saying, well, this restaurant first started as a bank in 1901, and like it's really interesting. So I found a place the other day that I actually went back to for the 3rd time. The Old Pecan, it's amazing for breakfast.
Place.
But this morning I had a different tack, and I went into Twitter and I typed in a search and I put in free breakfast # South by Southwest, and all of this stuff came up. And then I went out in the street and I met some friends, and then we said, well, let's go to breakfast. Do you know a place nearby? And so I went to the place I found on Yelp the other day. But so I used Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not a Yelper. I want to be, but I don't know why.
You can
I
lurk.
haven't done it.
I'm not much of a review writer, but I love reading them. Sometimes it's like comedy. Like people are like trying out their like comedic chops within Yelp. It's great.
They've got the little rating things where you can rate the reviewers.
Yes.
And one of them is specifically whether it was funny. It was like one of them was like amusing and informative, and there's like 3 different ways you can rate people. One of them is basically for being comedic.
Yeah.
But see,
I have a sad story about Yelp. It's very personally.
Is this about your brother again?
Yeah, it's very demoralizing for me. I was on Yelp. I got my brother on Yelp. Okay. Now I wouldn't say I'm a huge Yelper, but I do offer back reviews because I figure other people are doing it. I'll be nice and I'll tell them what I think. So. I don't know, let's say I've done 75, 80 reviews, okay, in all the years I've done it.
It's about 75, 80 more than I have.
My little brother gets on Yelp, and he does like 20 reviews, and Yelp makes him one of their, what do they call it, Yelp?
Elite?
Elite. He was like Yelp Elite for, 2011 or whatever. And he calls me up, and he's like, hey, I'm Yelp Elite. I'm like, what do you mean you're Yelp Elite? All of a sudden, I wanted to be Yelp Elite. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't care. But I needed to be because my brother was.
That's exactly what Yelp knows about Yelp Elite. They give you some sort of like a, you got your little crown. I'm elite. Now I'm going to write all sorts of reviews and keep this company going.
That's the same thing Foursquare does,
exactly.
of course.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to get my mayorship back of my local gym. I'm gonna get it back from you, Ron Richards.
Yeah.
But it keeps me going.
I'll never accomplish
That's why I go to the
that.
gym. I want that crown.
Oh, you know
There
what?
are some apps that like encourage you.
That
to,
reminds me, yeah, I went to the this great panel, and Jimmy Fallon was here. He moderated it. I think it was a last-minute
Nike,
thing.
was
The
it?
Nike
Yeah.
Fuel panel, and they talked about the Fuel Band,
Yeah.
which
She's got
tracks
one.
your... Oh, so you use that to track your activity?
Yes.
Yep.
As of yesterday.
But that doesn't.
As of yesterday, okay. Okay.
Oh wait, so that'll remind you to check in places and stuff?
No.
Just
Oh.
as far as activity goes.
I was
Yeah,
about
yeah.
to want it even more.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't think it would be possible. All right, so let's do some plugs. We've got to wrap up this
Yeah,
show.
we're
Let
rolling.
somebody else join us. And here,
Steve.
Steve Garfield.
Okay, so do you guys know I did a show last week, a daily live show leading up to South by Southwest called
No.
It was called The Road to South by Southwest.
Oh, awesome.
And what I did was 2 o'clock every day Eastern. It was a live Google Hangout, and we put it on air, so it was broadcast. And it started because someone came up to me and they said, "It's my first time going to South by. I feel totally overwhelmed, and I've been looking at all the pages, and I don't know what to do. And what I really want is to know, like, what are my friends choosing to do?" So I thought, I have friends who know South by and have been here a number of years. So I did a Google Hangout, and I invited different people like CC Chapman, Jason Falls, different people, and they all came in on the panel. And so last Thursday we talked about this Thursday. What are you going to do for the sessions? What are you going to do in the evening? We went through. Show is over. So quick shows for every day. And so it was live then and archived. So now each morning I tweet out a link to that show. It's archived on
cool.
YouTube, so people can go look at the show and see what to do that day.
Nice.
And now we've already gotten feedback. And this one guy said, he sent me an email. He said he was overwhelmed. He didn't really know what South by was going to be. And when he saw this show, then he got it. He saw the excitement of all of us talking about it, and then he really got a sense of how South by was going to be. So he felt with the power of video, which is my thing, it really helped him out a lot. So
Very
Now
cool.
you're on Twitter where, and you're on Google Plus where, and what is the name of your book?
Oh, okay, very good. So I'm on Twitter at Steve Garfield, and I wrote this book all about how to put video online called Get Seen for Wiley. And if they go to stevegarfield.com, they can get everything.
everything
For
there.
Google Plus, I don't like the whole long URL, so I made stevegarfield.com/GPLUS,
Perfect.
G plus, so people can go there.
G+.
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you
Good to
for
us.
see you. I
We
want
just
you're on my
co-opted
list of
you
people
out of
to
the
see,
crowd.
so this is good.
And Sarah,
Sarah Lane from
tell
Twit
them,
TV.
give them everywhere they can find you.
I'm Sarah Lane with an H, SARAHLANE, pretty much everywhere. And you can see all my work at twit.tv.
Every
Tech
day.
News Today, Social
Today,
Hour,
the social hour,
iPads.
and
5
iPad
days a
Today.
week.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This is John P. You can find him at gplus.to/John Pose.
And
Just
she is Callie Lewis,
everywhere.
gplus.to/Callie Lewis.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks to NewTek for having us here, and we've had an awesome time. We use the TriCaster in our studio every day.
Yes, we do. The Big
Everyone
Daddy.
say bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.